Today we're at Jake's house and we're talking communications with subcontractors and changing behaviors in an industry that doesn't like to change. Let's take it away. Today we're with Craig Novak, who's the project manager for Jake's house. And Craig, we're in a room that has a whole lot of things going on. And I think it's emblematic of kind of the challenges that sometimes we have in trying to change our industry. So our industry has been around for hundreds and hundreds of years. Building with wood is not a new thing. And subcontractors, who are companies that we collaborate with, but we do not directly control their people, we have to communicate with them on the ways that we want to build. And we want to build in a way that not only protects the environment, protects clients, protects indoor air quality, but is cost effective to the clients, as well as diminishing the material usage that we see pretty routinely being wasted in the construction industry. And a lot of times we have conversations with the managers and the owners of construction companies or subcontractors that maybe doesn't get filtered down to the guys in the field actually doing the work. And I see a lot in this room, and I'd kind of love you to walk us through some conversations that you've had in this room and the results of that.
Well, it's absolutely true. We have agreed upon standards in our contract. We have extensive reasoning behind why we want to be a green building company and how those practices should be implemented. And upon the signing of a contract and all the discussions at the management level, everybody agrees that sounds fantastic. But then, as you said, the implementation, it doesn't trickle down that information. This room's a great example. We're huge proponents of non-load bearing walls to be 24-inch on center for sound attenuation, using 30% less lumber in some cases. But over here on this wall, we have an example of two different individuals. One guy's laying out the wall at a 16-inch on center, which is our standard, or it has been the standard, and then 24
in the
inches,
industry, but not our standard. Yes,
exactly.
Right.
And then modifying on this other wall to the exterior at a 24-inch standard. So it's
only 24 on center, half of the wall, and the other half of the wall is 16 on center.
Yeah,
underneath the window.
I can imagine the sheetrocker getting a little frustrated when he's figuring where's the backing.
Right. And so we had this conversation. So it's in our contracts, it's on our specifications for this subtrade to do these things. We've actually had those conversations, and we've gotten these details approved with the structural engineer for our project, and yet it doesn't translate always all the time. And part of this discontinuity we see is because some subtrades are hired to do the same job over and over and over again by different general contractors, and those general contractors aren't trying to change how they do things. They're doing things the same way they've been doing things for 30 years.
Especially if they have teams that are exclusive to that one trade. For example, in this house, there's a team that just puts the paneling on the wall and nails it off to the specification. So they don't do anything else. So they're not even conjoined with what might happen at the prior trades. So a 24-inch center stud layout might confuse that trade on the outside. So
not only do we get kind of discontinuities within a single wall, which is just crazy, but we get, like, when we try to save the clients and the subcontractors money by reducing the amount of materials that we're using. Like, I look above me and I have two different conditions. I have a load bearing wall here, and we can tell it's load bearing because the ceiling rafters are landing on it, and then you're starting a new rafter. So we know that's load bearing. And yet here I see another wall literally 4 feet away from the first wall that also has a giant header above it. And yet we know it's not load bearing because the rafters are going parallel with it, right? So there's no load on this. Essentially that header right there, that big part of a tree, is there to hold up sheetrock.
Yeah, which could be a lot less. Could be a couple parallel 2x on edge.
Yeah.
And do the same.
And so we could save money by removing that, and we have a 3-foot door here that literally you could do with a 2x4. And yet, so we're not paying attention to the details of the actual project. We've specified all this. Non-bearing walls don't have structural headers, right? And yet we still kind of get ignored. And when a subcontractor comes and puts 20 guys on a project at once, on a project like this, they're doing a lot of work all at once. And we can't go around and police them, every guy all the time. It would be impossible.
You'd have to have 5 superintendents
Right.
managing somebody else's company.
Right, which is not cost effective.
Absolutely not.
Right. So you came in, and it was interesting because you were actually on vacation when these guys started the frame of this. And so we had other project managers that were managing this project while you were away. And what we found was that the conversations that you had never reached the guys on the ground. And so we had a conversation of, we don't do this way. This is the way we do it, with the guys in the field who'd never heard any of that from the management. And so we ended up having to go downstairs, and we started downstairs, and they're actually having to remove a lot of this material and put it in the way that we specified, but it's already been used. So they're building it how we want, but it's taking extra time and extra effort and extra materials to do it the right way. And that seems pretty crazy.
It seems
right?
like the wrong way, because
Yeah.
they're battling labor cost, and they could have avoided that.
And so, these guys so this is the first time we used this contracting company, this subcontracting company, for the framing. And they were actually signed up to do another one of our projects. And we took them off of that project, and we put on another one of our sub trades that we've used before and that actually listen to us and pay attention. And they're doing the Venkatesh project, and they're doing a fantastic job, and beautiful, and it's just exactly how we want. And so, people who don't understand this industry, I think, don't understand that the project managers and the site superintendents are busy quality controlling the projects on a daily basis to make sure things are done the way we want them done. And that when we're trying to change the way the industry works, it's actually a lot harder. I mean, I don't know another way to get around this except to train. And we continually talk to our subcontractors and train them to do things in a better way, but sometimes it's difficult.
Well, the example you just shared with us, we have a contractor that understands and is embracing these ideas, and they're learning that they're saving money in material costs, because that's on them.
Yep.
And what happened with lumber in the last 4 years,
Right.
it didn't bounce back to those prices before, so he has an opportunity to pull back a little money and leave it in his profit margin.
Right. If you're interested in learning more about how we change the industry and build a better way, hit subscribe as we show you how to build a better way.